good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are tuning in from. This is The Awesome Journey, and I'm your host, Kelle 𝒏𝒆𝒚, along with my co-host and care, Christy Howard. And we're just two girls that connected on LinkedIn 15 years ago, live on opposite sides of the country, have giving hearts, a passion for paying it forward, and I may have prayed to be living louder in my purpose. And now here we sit in front of microphones, bringing you The Awesome Journey. And as many of you know, and for those of you that are new here, one of our primary goals was to highlight incredible individuals to share their unique stories and challenges, because we all just need that simple reminder of we're all united in our personal journeys. And our guest today, we're super pumped about for so many reasons, but Eugene Berezin is here with us. He is a career coach, a business coach, has an incredible story to share about his personal journey to the United States and in his business career and what he is currently doing. So for those of you who are searching for work, needing a career coach, doesn't matter what industry you're in, there will be valuable takeaways for you today. I encourage everyone to be sure to connect with Eugene, and anything that we talk about during this episode, we will include those links and or other information in the comments, as well as the post promos. So that all being said, huge mouthful, I will now turn it over, before we get to Eugene, to my co-host in care, Christy Howard.
Hello. Yeah, everybody knows that I do the technical. I'm worried because it's not showing it's live over here, though it's showing it's live over here. There. It says live on your guys' end, right? Yep. Up to the right?
Yep.
Okay. Anyway, you all know I love recruiters, and that I love really good recruiters that give the right answers and gives the information, because there's so much crap out there. So that's why we've connected to Eugene. But he has a great story, because we all have a great, awesome journey. So anyway, it's going to be short. I'm on the back end playing over here. And Eugene, thank you. We were going to have him earlier in the summertime, but he moved. So we brought him back in, and we're so excited we were able to get him on.
All right. Hello, everybody. It's such an honor to be here. And I've been following The Awesome Journey for quite some time. And you see me in the comments sometimes. I will pop up, ask questions, or just say hello, or just come and support. So absolutely amazing. And when Christy reached out to me and asked, hey, do you want to be a guest on the show? Absolutely said yes, because I think this is what people don't realize. There's no such thing as a small or big show, and it's all about putting yourself out there. It's all about meaningful connection, because you don't need to be on Forbes journal or a big podcast. You are literally one connection away from your next breakthrough and from your next opportunity. So this is why I'm super excited and pumped to be here. So, but about my journey, because it's all about journey. My journey started way back, probably at this point, 12, 13 years ago. So my first professional job was sign language interpreter, Russian sign language interpreter, because newsflash, each country has its own national sign language, and they're different. And also there are different linguistic groups in sign languages, which are totally different from spoken languages. For example, Russian Sign Language can be mutual intelligible with American Sign Language. Not 100%, but if people spend enough time together, they might start understanding each other better, versus if a person from the United States talks to a person from Japan and who uses Japanese Sign Language. Those are a little bit different sign languages. It's just a fun fact. So, because people often ask me my brother is somebody from Nigeria actually reached out to me and asked, so my brother is, or my cousin is deaf, and I would like to communicate with him. So where do I learn the language? I ask which sign language. You are in Nigeria. Which sign language he's using? Is he using American Sign Language? Is he using one of the local sign languages? Like you gotta ask your brother what he speaks. But it's a little tangent. So well, this is my first professional job, and then I went to college to be a psychologist, um,
Hmm.
a clinical psychologist, and
Wow.
Nice.
yeah, and my specialty was special education and deaf studies. So and after I graduated my school, I had a very important choice to make because back in Russia, uh, being gay, being Protestant, being Christian, and like background, right? Russia is Russian Orthodox country, and it's another branch of Christianity. We have Catholicism, we have Christian Orthodox, and we have Protestants, and Protestants have many churches. So, being Baptist in Russia and also being gay in Russia was not necessarily. I couldn't see myself growing and continuing going there as like or to have a happy life. So and I was thinking how to move forward, like what to do next. And on the one hand, it was on one side it was my PhD program, diving deeper into clinical psychology, doing like academia work, and on the other side was figure out where I will go next, like where like what is my next step. And I think this is where my faith and the power of manifestation, and I'm going a little woo woo here, but I decided that like I have no place where like I have no place in Moscow, Russia. I can't live there. So before I physically move my body to the United States, I bring my future into my environment. And how I did it, like all of my equipment, my apartment, my equipment, my phone, everything was in English. And at that point, I thought I would move to Australia, and I would. I connected with a bunch of people from Australia, and I would study the accent, the not necessarily it's not dialect, but like how people would speak locally, which like I had to not necessarily relearn here in the United States. I just realized so I probably shouldn't keep my British or Australian accent here because it might confuse people. So, but as the whole another journey. But here's where power of manifestation came in. I don't know how. I don't know. Well, I don't know what exactly worked out, but I got I got my visa, like tourist visa, and I moved. I came here, and I came here with the intention to see what happened. I did not have everything planned out, so I did not
I am
have the
canceling
money.
this. For some reason, sorry about this, guys. For some reason, it's not connected on LinkedIn.
Oh,
So pause with me right there. We've got time. Um, I don't know why this isn't. Okay. No, that's not what I want. Bear with me. Fuck me. Bear with me. That's never happened before.
Yeah, it's super weird.
Yeah. Because I
So wait,
just got a message going. Okay, hold on.
I've gotten some messages too.
Yeah. So we're going to have to start over. That's okay. It's technical.
technology.
How funny. I got a
Yeah,
screenshot
you got
from someone and it says, "This is what I see. Good morning, Ms. Awesomeness."
yeah.
And also, I see a message. Hello, everyone viewing from LinkedIn.
Yeah,
That's
see,
interesting.
okay. So now it says already added.
Oh yeah, I see. Like,
Okay,
see,
hold on.
I see we're live on my page on my site, but we're not live on Awesome Journey. Okay, I see. Rashad,
Yeah, but
we will have to
so are they,
rejoin.
is people,
Page.
okay, we're getting messages.
Look at
It looks like
that.
we're
I
getting
don't know what
messages,
the
so
heck's
that's good.
happening. Is Mercury in retrograde again? What is happening?
Looks like it.
No, man. Okay.
Okay,
Um,
that was weird. Oh well, whatever.
okay,
So let's
let's
let's let's continue, shall we?
okay, so we're gonna start from the beginning. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, we're not sure what's happening. Technology, a little bit of an issue. So take two, the awesome journey live with our very special guest, Eugene Berezin, today, who is a career coach and business coach. And I guess now we'll go back to, giving a little bit about your story. I know you started to share this already, Eugene, but maybe we can do a little bit of a shorter version just to what led you here and then into business. And hopefully this stays. Folks, we have no idea what happened, but hey, such is lives.
Mhm.
But I love about the sign language. I mean, and going at as being a
Yes.
shrink. Not a shrink, but you know what I mean. So yeah, let's go.
Mhm.
Backplay here.
Yeah. All right. So, sh- shorter version. So I started as a sign language interpreter. So,
Love
and my brother is deaf, by the way. So this is like this is how it started. My adopted brother is deaf. It's another story. It's another journey for another live stream. So, but this is my first
But
professional
there you go.
job. Then I went to college for clinical psychology, and my specialty was special education and deaf studies. So I graduated with honors, and after that, I was I had to make a decision because what I was saying before, being Baptist, being gay in Moscow, Russia,
it.
it was extremely challenging. Not just because of everything, really, like because of the political atmosphere that was going on back then, like 10 years ago. Um, if you think that it is like 10 years ago is really where I saw the like writing on the wall that like I need to get out as fast as possible. And
Mhm.
I started my journey back then. So I started from manifesting my future. So basically I would organize my life around me as I was already out of that place. Either like I was thinking about Australia or Canada, but the United States, I was kind of I was blocking myself with my limiting beliefs because, like, well, like, there's a lot of paperwork that I have to go through, like, to be here. But God and the universe might have different plans for us. So I came here on the tourist visa, and I came here with the pure intention to see what happens. I have friends here, see what happens. Like, and my absolutely non-negotiable was I have to be here legally because I have a career back home. And if I can't be here legally and work here and build my life and career here as a like free, right? Then like it's probably a no go for me. So I would
Yeah.
have to consider other revenues. And what do you know? Everything worked out. Like I will spare all of the details, but everything worked out, and I was able to get my paperwork. I was able to get a lawyer. And by the way, I came here. A lot of people say, "Oh, I can afford your services. Oh, I can afford coaching. Oh, I can afford this. I can afford that." I came here with no money, and I had to pay a lot of money to my lawyer. I still don't know how. Like it was a little bit of my savings, but like I'm glad that I brought a little bit of the savings, which it paid out. So, and it led me to another journey. So, like when I came here, my intention was, well, I'm a good therapist. I am a professional in behavioral services, so I gotta go back into industry. I gotta go back to what I was doing at home because my friends were telling me, so the best thing that you can do outside of your country is to be a dishwasher. That's your future. Serving tables, wash dishes, mop floors. This is your future. This is what you're signing up for. And it's not like, heck no. Hell to the no. I'm not doing it. I'm not because it is like, not because it is below me, because like I'm not good at it. Like I'm just not good at it. There are people who are excellent
Amen.
at housekeeping, at cleaning. This is not me. This is not me. I literally spoke with my mom yesterday. Oh no, I'm sorry, on Monday, and she's a military woman, and she's retired right now, and she's running a school kitchen, and we talked about and we kind of like start talking about doing cleaning services, and my mom screamed like, no, Eugene, like, good thing you never went that route because you would be absolutely terrible
Mm.
at it. Like you would get fired the first day as you were cleaning something. Like I'm glad that you didn't do it. So, but I was able to actually get back into my profession, not necessarily with the same title, not necessarily with in the same way, but I was a youth counselor, I was a case manager, I was doing a lot of counseling and therapy and helping people. I was a case manager at insurance company, and I was helping people navigate the healthcare, and it was so rewarding. But at some point I realized that money was not there for me, and I had a family to support. I had another person to like in my family that was more or less dependent on me. So I was thinking where to go next, and this is how I start my journey in tech. And again, um, speaking about limiting beliefs, I started as a QA engineer, and only because not because I was passionate about quality, not because I was passionate about testing, but because I thought like, well, I'm a therapist, I'm a case manager, I'm a youth counselor. Like I have no business writing code, so maybe I will do testing. Maybe it would be a better fit for me. But later on, I discovered my passion for iOS development, and here I am, senior iOS developer, teaching other people how to code, teaching other people how to break into tech, teaching other people how to leverage their technical skills to break into entrepreneurship as well. And I'm glad that I took that route. But again, it's because if I wouldn't listen to my limiting beliefs, I think my life would happen to me a lot faster, a lot sooner. I'm grateful for my journey because I learned so much. But again, I had so many ebbs and flows only because I limited myself. I was in the way, and now I'm so excited to serve people. And um,
Love that.
I was I was thinking about it, like here recently, because if you're following me, right, you know that right before I moved to Seattle, I got laid off, right, and what was amazing about it, I already had my business, I already had my coaching business, and when God takes one thing, he will replace it with something else. And I had my clients, and then again, listening to my limiting beliefs, like, well, I gotta have 9 to 5, and I'm connected with amazing recruiters, and somebody would reach out to me and say, "Hey, like, we have a contracting gig for you, so you would be excellent fit," and I was excited about it. And I'm not knocking down any opportunities necessarily, but when I started that contracting gig, something deep inside of me was telling me this is not in alignment. Like this is not what you made for, and this is not your opportunity. Like the team was great, everything was great. This is not your opportunity. And um my contract like ended fall kind of short, not because of the performance, not because of anything else. It was really odd circumstances. Like, I will spare the details, but really odd circumstances. And this is why when people ask me about, and Chrissy and we were talking about right before the live stream, like, is a contracting gig a good career move? And I think it is an excellent career move, because they interview you during your contract and you interview them during the contract. And if there's a misalignment, they can cut it short, or they might reallocate resources, even if it is not like even if it is in alignment. But you will see your for like next steps as you go. And because I like right now I'm excited to really be at full capacity for the people that I can serve, like whether it is through career
I think
coaching.
a couple important things that you said there that I just kind of wanted to reiterate a little bit for everyone, and what you, because what you commented on is you were blocking yourself by your own limiting beliefs,
Hmm.
and that is kind of what we were talking about beforehand, and about changing. Christy, we can't hear you. I see you like moving, but I can't hear you. Um, is is how that then led you, you know, because of course it adjusted your path or your journey, if you will, because I do believe that all things are in God's timing, and I, even though I question myself and I'm like, seriously, like how long does this have to take? Is how that shifted you into now what you're currently doing, because you are now about giving back and helping others based on your own experience, which I think is so beautiful and so naturally came together, and then does go back into your own education. So those things like started to align, but you had to go through all of those things in order to happen. So, and that's why we always say like the journey isn't always pretty, but when we finally get to a place we go, now I get it. So those were just kind of my interjections and thoughts about people who are struggling, and then going to the whole thing about 1099 as opposed to interviewing. Because I'm sure you hear from people all the time about what they're struggling with in the job market, and what their challenges are.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think when it comes to either you're 1099 or you W2, or however you decide to like serve your niche, serve your community, and share your craft, um, it's
Am I
all,
here?
yes,
Yeah.
we can hear you.
Yay! Man, I don't know what is happening today.
Neither one.
Oh,
Is it time for a glass of wine?
I
seriously.
know.
So
Okay.
go on, Eugene, and thanks for being such a champ and rolling with the punches.
Yeah, like it's exciting. Like this is like, hey, like when I have technical difficulties, I think it was when like last Thursday, my camera wasn't working. I had to do my live stream from my laptop, and everything was kind of shaking. I'm like, you know what? I'm not deleting nothing, because somebody will find the value in this stream if they
That's
need it. Because this
When
is
it
not
goes
my.
back to what you're saying, you know, the journey that you had while I was trying to talk and nobody could hear me, and that's sometimes a good thing. I think my husband would say that. Um,
right.
you know, we have to. We're always one. We're our worst critic, but two,
Yeah,
we sit there and go, "Oh, I can't do that. Oh, I can't do that. I have to just stay this line. I have to stay this line." And you just kept on saying, "No, I got this. I got." And look at, I mean, look at where you started from and what
yes,
you're doing now. It's
Mhm.
amazing because you realize that your belief, and I have a great mentor that had told me once that a belief system is just a box of BS
Mhm.
because we put it all the crap in there. And when we don't have that belief that's, you know, shutting us down, we're available, you know, we're able to do whatever we want to.
Yes.
Jump out of the plane, you know.
Mhm.
So going back to your coaching, because now I can talk, so I'm going to talk. Um,
look out, world.
exactly. So, you know, because technical recruiters are different than executive recruiters and or recruiters like, you know, I have, you know, the background as an executive assistant. I wouldn't go to a technical recruiter. However, it's the same mindset as recruiting. So I'm hearing a lot, and we hear a lot about the ATS, the bots. kick out questions, interviewing, ghosting on both ends, the timeline of when you're going to hear back. When you apply for a job, you know, old school, you'd maybe hear for a few days. You're hearing back maybe 4 months later. So what kind of guidance can you give these job seekers? Because right now, people's mental health is shot. We know,
Yes.
I know of somebody who had an interview. The person didn't get the job. Months later, the C-suite reached out to that person and said, the person didn't reach out, didn't work out. We'd like you to, reapply. That gives you hope. Like, well, you came to me. So they changed the job description because they were obviously something needed to be changed. They went and had the interview. The C-suite the person was talking to, they had a good rapport. They had an interview with the outgoing person, the person that's leaving. And this person was just told. So the C-suite came back and said, hey, I'm going to be in town. Let's meet. So again, you're thinking, hey, I got the job. Came back and said, the person that is leaving didn't think you're a good enough fit.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Now, why, excuse me, the hell you're leaving? Why would a company take that person's, give that person power to replace them? So there's some scenarios. Now you have the stage. I will zip it.
So it is a really good point. I will start with the advice, what I normally give to my community, and then I'm going to share a little bit about bots and ATS, and I want to share my dirty, dirty secret with y'all. So it's going to be a little bit of a confessional, okay?
I like those.
So the advice is strategic networking. So
Yeah.
you here's the thing. The world is so big, even though it seems it's small. The LinkedIn is so big, even though like we might see like, well, I think I'm connected with everybody, but no, like you have no idea how many iOS developers are out there I'm connecting with, and they ask me like, who are you? Why are you connecting with me? I'm like you haven't heard? I'm like, no, like this is the first time like I'm seeing you. Like, I mean, it's a great thing that you do iOS and like you have a channel, and like I had no idea yet that you existed. So expand your network daily. And this is so crucial. And when I say expand your network daily, and it's 5 people as minimum, 5 meaningful connection requests with a message to the right people daily, like Monday to Friday. Important. And it's important to again remove yourself out of the way. And doesn't matter if they accept or not. They may not, or they may.
Sure.
If I thought about like if people accept my connection request, I wouldn't have over 5,000 followers. Like I just simply wouldn't. This is the daily work that is required. And then when you have your carefully curated network, it's important to share about your craft, what you actually do, what you're good at. I always say that video is a king. This is why we have live stream here right now. But also, like I also diversify my content here on LinkedIn because each platform is a little different. But sharing your perspective, connecting with people intentionally, and start meaningful conversations, meaningful relationships. This is so important. This is so important, and this is how you make it work out. And then yes, maybe that situation didn't work out, and then this is, by the way, these are like all data points for that person who interviewed for the job. Like, okay, if they rely, it's like if I was asking my ex about my future partner, that would be messed up, right? Like, oh, like
Exactly.
that would be really messed up. And if, like, I don't know, I was that person who would interview my replacement, but not because I didn't work out, because I wanted to go further I was aligned with the job, and yes, of course, my manager would listen to me. But if I don't work out, if I'm not the right fit, why the hell my manager would listen to me if I'm not the right
Plus,
fit?
you're leaving the company.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was
That's the whole
saying,
thing. I had
that's
never
on
heard
the
this.
manager's position. Like I have no problem. I agree with what you said. I've definitely interviewed like my replacement in the past, or in when I'm leaving an organization, seeing people who are potentially their candidates, or even having people leave and I'm filling their position. I might ask for their hey, what are your thoughts on this person? That's not making my decision though. My decision is based on who is going to be the best person for this position at this time with the culture, all the things. Because in this example, I do feel like whoever that manager was or the outgoing person, they should not have been the one. This is just my opinion, that had the right to say a big fat no, and that went like that. To me, makes whoever was involved in the process failed. I mean, that's just
So it goes back to the mental health. So here you're all excited, like, oh, here's a company that came back to me. They want me to reapply, because most companies that I know that have done that, they're like, okay, we rearranged the job description. We want you to reapply, because they know that they want to hire you. So they're doing the due diligence. Right. And then they're going through all this stuff, and it's like, oh, well, by the way, that guy that's leaving, he didn't think you were a fit.
What? The fact that they even told him that, I think, is awful. Like they shouldn't even have said that. That's just my opinion, because I think that is such a lousy way to make someone feel. And and this is happening all the time. I hear so many people say it. It's this false sense of hope, and then it's not. It's like, okay, I wasn't excited because now I'm in interview 5, but now I'm starting to get a little bit excited because it sounds like they want me. And then as soon as you kind of let your wall down to be like, oh God, this actually feels kind of like it might be a deal, then they body slam you. And then you're just kind of like, I didn't see that coming. And it's this awful machine that is happening right now that is so broken in so many different avenues. And it is, people are just so struggling. So I guess, Eugene, what are you seeing with your clients that they're, what is their biggest complaint, or what are they coming to you for, saying like, God, I really need help with this? Yeah.
So for my clients, I have 2 types of clients generally. One type of client who came to me when shit hit the fan and they got laid off, or something is not working out in their profession, or like generally they're out of the job and they exhausted their resources, and not necessarily exhausted their resources, they just not in a good state, whether they say it or not. Because I often do like surveys and anonymous surveys, so I never like ask for, when I ask for feedback, I never ask for the name, because at that point it's not really important. But often people say, I was depressed. It was really hard to get up in the morning. It was really hard to move forward. It was like I felt stuck. I was in a really dark place. This is one like type of client, and I always in my live stream say that this is an emergency, right? Like if you go to if you go to, let's say, a medical professional when there's an emergency, uh you probably will be fixed, but it will take you some time for your health to thrive. And the same with career. I will get you fixed. I will get you I will help you to get a job. I will help you to get a hopefully profitable job in a profitable niche. But at this point, anything is profitable because you don't have cash flow right now.
Right.
But on the other hand, I always say you don't have to wait until something happens, because this is your journey. And like, if you think that you can do so much more in your position, if you think that you can earn so much more money, or just more money, because I was talking to a guy when it was 2 years 2 years ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, and he was a decent mid-level software developer, and he was making 80K a year, and I said, hey, like I'm making here like 175K,
Yeah,
and like you're making 80K.
right.
This is not okay. Like get you at least 130K. Like normal mediocre salary. It's not high, it's not low, it is average. Get
But
yourself
don't you
to
think
that.
that especially right now, I think this is sorry, I think this has always been an issue, but I think right now probably even more exemplified. People are afraid to ask for what they think they're worth. And
Yep.
if they come in and they agree to an $80,000 a year job and they've been there a while and they're up for a promotion or up for um, getting an increase in salary, they don't ask because, and my feeling has always been like, the worst thing that's going to happen is they're going to say
Say
no.
no.
Mhm.
You never know unless you ask, but you've got to see the value in yourself. But I feel like with what's happening in the market and people feeling more depressed and more down, they're just like, I'll just
They've
take
lost
whatever,
it.
be okay with it. Yeah, I don't have that spike anymore to say, because I'm being told over and over again, I have no value because I'm being rejected over and over
Mhm.
again.
And also what's happening, and I'm seeing that, especially in San Francisco and New York, I'm blown away. And again, my background's in EA and stuff like. They're looking for people with years of experience, degrees, and everything, and wanting to give them $50,000.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I'm living in Manhattan and San Francisco. First of all, how am I going to survive? Second of all, my experience. And it's just, but the thing is that I'm seeing is people will take that job. They will take that job because they need the money to come in. However,
Mhm.
companies are going to be losing people if we pray the economy turns around and they
And
start.
economy will turn around.
I I pray every day. I pray.
yes, it's not so.
It's in God's hands right now. But that's the whole thing. It's like people. So when people are like, "Well, I need to just take this job," and it's I'm used to making 140,000, but they're only paying 50,000. I'll just take it. Now
Yeah.
you've hurt your own self-worth of saying, "Hey, this is what you're going to pay me, and this is what I'm going to do."
Right. And good little transition. I think this is when people truly need to have a career coach, confidence coach to help them out. Because I will say, I've interviewed hundreds of people over my career. People, we can tell when you're desperate and it reads wrong in the interview. It just
Mhm.
always does. So I'm saying if you're feeling in a way of, I don't feel as confident as I used to, I'm so over getting rejected, I don't know how to get myself pumped up. This is why you need a career and or confidence coach to help you through this process, because it will be worth everything.
Mhm.
So that's my little plug, and I don't mean that as a plug in any way because I don't say that if I don't mean it. Because I think that people are feeling, and I say this for my own self. I mean, I've been in positions where I'm like, I just want this freaking job. Like, and you have to get in a clear mindset of being sure that you're coming across in the proper way, because they can tell if you are desperate, and it does make the job, the hiring manager, the whomever is doing the interviewing, get a feel for you as if like, it's not a hunger, it's not a drive, it feels a little bit
Desperation.
like you're trying to sell me, and that's
Mhm.
so off-putting. So again, that's a little bit of a, I guess, a toss back to you now, Eugene, because I'm sure that's where you can come in and help people.
Well,
Yeah.
and I'm interrupting. The coaching is really good because you get the person out of their head, which
Mhm.
is the worst place to be. You're in that
Yes.
box. And so anyway, back to you. But my main thing is get out of your head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yes. So absolutely. And also a coach can help you with a strategy, because often people take temporary solution as a permanent career move. It's not.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, it is not. If you're absolutely desperate for the money and everything aligned for, like, I don't know, worst case scenario, 50K, like, okay, like, if that 50K pays more than your unemployment, so you just made a little bit more money, but keep looking. And doesn't mean
Absolutely.
that you have to put that position on your resume right away. And doesn't mean that you have to put it on your LinkedIn right away. It keeps like, okay, like now I can breathe a little. Now I
Yeah.
can afford now I can afford coaching because I have cash flow.
Right.
In like, how do I position myself? And I also want to like I kind of made a little bit of a segue to confessional. I when it was a couple of years ago, I don't advertise it ever, but I train a couple of recruiters how to be like from zero to a recruiter. And when people say like they're ATS bots and like stuff like that, well, first of all, I was a part of the hiring committee at two big organizations. Well, one big organization and one startup. And the reality is, it's like it's all about your marketing materials, meaning your resume, your LinkedIn, how you network with the recruiter, because recruiters they look at you, and let's say you overlook your resume somewhere, and like you didn't do your due diligence, you didn't read the job description, and like you disregard every single point that you need to have on your resume. Like now you go to recruiter, and recruiter might ask you like, oh, by the way, I wasn't sure if you meant to send me that resume, or like I wasn't sure if you do have that experience, but can you elaborate on that? And you say, oh, like definitely I do, because um everybody knows that people suck at writing their own resumes.
Yep.
And
True story. True story.
people
Yeah.
just do. But your personal connection, like, yes. And what is happening now, recruiters are overwhelmed by the amount of resumes that they get. And also technology sometimes be technology, and like let's say you don't get the response, or you get the rejection email, or like something. Like if you know who is hiring, like recruiter or hiring manager, be respectful, and just, hey,
Yes.
like worst case scenario, they will not respond and they will ghost you. But I'd rather exhaust all of my options and being ghosted by a person. At least I know that it's not a system. At least I know that they might be overwhelmed. So, and it is what it is.
Yeah. And I think, now what I was thinking as you were saying that ATS is such an, and having being strong in your own brand, because we are our own brand, and understanding what that is. But kind of going back to the scenario of the guy that was dissed because of the position that he was replacing, the person saying, nope, I don't think he's the one. I do always recommend to people, and I'm interested to what your thoughts are on this, Eugene, is when you are rejected after you've been down a path, is to do a follow-up and say, something to the effect of, hey, what could I have done different? Or asking for some feedback. Because in this scenario, I almost feel like I want to tell them to be like, I would write them back and ask, and just be like, hey, I was really disappointed to hear that this was the decision. I really felt such a good connection. I don't know. I just feel like there's
It's
always
like,
good
why did you
follow-up.
reach out to me? It's like if you
Right.
can't make the decision and you got the person
Why
who's
did you
leaving.
why did you ask me on date number 3? Damn it. I mean,
Because interviewing is like dating. It
Mhm.
really is.
And it's
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 so
exact it's like dating, it's like running your own business. It's no
yeah.
different than follow up with your prospects, for example. Like
Right.
it's kind of like when
Mhm.
people entrepreneurs are like, oh, I need to lower my prices. They're like, no, you need to be better at follow up. So like people who said no, like first of all, they're not ready to buy. And how do we re-engage? The same thing with the with jobs, right? Worst thing that can happen, they will just disregard your email.
Right.
But when
Right.
it happened to me, like also like during the interview, sometimes I like, hey, I do realize I bumped my technical interview right now, but if you are the liberty sharing your feedback with me, I would like to hear that because I want to improve.
Well, it's
And
also respecting the recruiter that you
yeah,
want to hear what they have to say.
Absolutely.
yes, yes. And I got really good follow-ups, like most of the time. And sometimes would engineers would say, hey, you did excellent, or sometimes it was just like, hey, it was just not quite the right fit. It's not necessarily you did something wrong, and just
Right.
not right now. And I had companies that I interviewed multiple times. I'm connected with really influential people. And sometimes those people would reach out to me after the interview and they would say, Eugene, I know it's your third time. I would like to hire you. Something is not aligning like quite well, but it's not my decision. The team felt this way. Let's keep networking and like
Absolutely.
keep
Yeah.
trying. Keep
I've,
trying.
I've,
Maybe the
I've
fourth
known,
time is your time.
I've known a lot of people who've gotten jobs where a recruiter has come back to them like a year later going, I found the perfect job for you.
Yes.
Are you looking? Well, I have a job, but always be open for the conversation because you just always want to be open. You never know what the next door is going to open up to.
That's right. And
And
I think even
unfortunately, companies are not loyal to us.
no.
It's business. It's business. You're a business. They're a business. It's business. So when you get laid off, make sure that you've already had your resume. Update your resume. I don't know, every
Always.
6 months if you have to. Keep that LinkedIn going.
Mm-hmm.
Keep those conversations because you never know who somebody's going to go, oh, this is the perfect person.
Yes.
You know?
And I think it's so important too to say in all that. And I know that people are so frustrated, and and I've been one, I get it, is to not burn the bridges because you
No.
never know. Because exactly like what Christy just said, a year from now, someone could be like, oh my God, I kind of remember that one guy, he wasn't a fit for this position, but this one may be perfect. I'm going to reach out and see. Because you never know. It's always that one connection, which is why I do think it's important. And this used to be, and I want to say old school because I'm older. You always kept your resume up to date. Like that was part of kind of business 101 is keep it up to date because you never know.
Mm-hmm.
Because usually, and I do find this to be true, the most hireable people are the people who are employed. I don't know how many times I used to get emails about getting poached out of an executive position from other businesses because they know that you're working, they know that what you do, and they want to see like, can I pull this person out of here?
However, that's old school. That's not
Totally.
that's not how it's been for the last year.
No, and it won't be.
The
People aren't
landscape's completely
hiring
changed.
employees anymore. And maybe this will swing us back into the difference between employee and 1099, because I think 1099 is happening a lot more often.
Mm-hmm.
And people who have never been 1099 are a little bit afraid of it because it's like, I am not familiar with it. I don't know what it really means, and I don't know how to approach it. And now I have to negotiate for myself, which again is another reason why you need a coach. Have someone help you of what that looks like. So I'd love your thoughts on that, Eugene.
Yeah. And this is kind of where I was going back and forth with my business coach. And by the way, my business coach, she's also a career coach and she's in the HR space. So we're in different spaces, but with the same specialty. And I said, like, no, you know what? I need to do both. I need to do business and career coaching because, first of all, there is a great transition by leveraging your experience in doing 1099 or like individual services, like by solving a problem. And what I'm also seeing, a lot of people are fed up with corporate America, and because a corporate America will act like a toxic boyfriend who will abuse you in whatever which way and make
But we'll
make it
stay.
difficult.
But we will
Yes.
stay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Stay in the abusive relationship.
Yes, and when tables are turned to like towards like corporate America, like they'll, oh, now we dictate what you do. Now we don't care how you feel. Now we don't care what if you want a remote. But when economic cycle flips and we're on the other side, so guess what? Like everything will shift again, and people are getting tired of it, and this is why I decided to really go full speed on my business. First of all, I'm changing so many people's lives, and I'm touching people directly, and I'm providing so much value by just doing my business, like as versus working for like strictly for corporate, which like you can re-engage with the corporate. Talking about 1099, you can re-engage with the corporate on your terms, which is your business of one, which is your service provider. and you are dictating your prices. And now, like, it's a partnership versus just employment. And this is where you need a coach where you figure out your niche, where you figure out your authority, where you figure out how to establish your authority and how to negotiate your how. And at this point, price negotiation is a sales conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important to have like right sales conversation. It's important to have the connection, and it's more so guiding your client to a decision. And sales conversation is not designed to get a yes. A sales conversation is designed to guide your prospect, guide your client to a decision. Yes, no, or not right now.
Right.
And
well, all no's are not right now, in my view.
Right. Yeah, amen.
Right. Because I in my practice, I also had people. Also, like, you need to understand the buying psychology, and like 1099 again. Like, this is like how your niche thinks. What is the buying cycle? What is the influencing events that will influence your client or whoever your organization that you are like considering to say yes. And you need to play those factors in your content, in your like marketing materials, so you can influence those decisions better. And yes, it may take some time, but like, guess what, if you're reiterating over and over again, you will get better and better at it.
Of course. I'm a true believer that, and this is what I share again, I don't put myself as a career coach. However, I help people with their careers. I'm all about their confidence, because you got to have confidence to sell yourself, market yourself.
Amen.
So but for this, we are a business. And even if you go to a job that's a W-2, understand you're still a business. They put the ad out. They saw something in you. You're now having a conversation. And a lot of times that have been happening is the person, the hiring manager, the recruiter, they're still a little confused what they exactly want. So this is your turn to turn around and say, this is what I read in your business, and this is what I can bring to the table. And then you get to decide, is this really, I just had somebody that had, she's had 3 interviews. They never brought up about their salary. And I'm like, that should be number 1. Am I even going to waste my time having a conversation with you? Right. What's your range?
Right.
What's the compensation? What's the bonuses? If it's up to where you are, you do have that possibility to come in, have the conversation, show them how strong you are, show them that, they need you, and negotiate higher. I've had people where it's just like, no, they had this amount, came back, they offered it, and they're like, nope, I need this. They got it. So it's understanding your worth. But it goes back to, let's say you get a job. The job description doesn't match what they told you.
Yes.
They start screwing you on the salary. This is another reason why you should have your resume. You should always have your LinkedIn strong, because recruiters are going to reach out to you.
Yeah.
And have those conversations.
Yeah.
Because as you said, it's easier to, it's easier to find a job when you're employed, even if you're miserable, because now you really have a reason to. But you want to be able to say, hey, this didn't work out, but I just learned all this. So my next interviews, I can have all the questions, because you have to interview the interviewer.
Yes, always. And I think so many great.
I remember like, oh, I have no questions, just hire me. But
yeah, right. I'm perfect for this job.
Way back then.
Yeah. But I think, there's such a different component of, knowing our own value and knowing when to say those things. But you're right. Like, why would I be on interview 3 if I don't even know what your salary range is? And I think it is so important to, and from a 1099 perspective, I ask the client, like, well, what's your budget? Because I'll see if it's a doable thing. Like, maybe your budget will work in this, or it's like, oh, this is way off of what I would charge. I could do X, Y, Z, but maybe not the rest of what you want to have happen. it is about owning the conversation and knowing that this is about you. And yes, I know it's great and easy to say like, oh, but I'm in this job and it sucks. Then go find another job. I mean, and I agree. I think when you've got an income and you're miserable, you're motivated in a totally different way because it's like I want to get the hell out of here and I want to continue to have my income. But I think when you're miserable and you're unemployed, that's a completely different ball game because of the way that this whole scenario is playing out with people. And I do think people struggle when they are at interview number one to ask about salary. What do you recommend with that, Eugene, with people's, how do they approach it, but also be confident about it? Because people can tell when they're interviewing you if you're like, so what's the
But
salary?
shouldn't that be the conversation before even getting into an interview? Like with a recruiter, what's the range?
Yeah, it's at the recruiter.
I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste my time. And if,
Yeah.
and then you come in and have the interview, just say, so what's your salary?
Yeah.
I mean, just put it out on the table.
Yeah. I think it's always so when this is such an important topic, and one of the sessions in my program that we went over is salary negotiation. Like number one is do not play games, because sometimes you hear like internet gurus would say, oh, whoever says the number first loses. Well, like whoever plays the most games is losing, really. But it's okay to say, hey, before we proceed any further, are you at the liberty to discuss the salary range? Like, I would like to know if we're really in alignment.
Right.
And like, per my experience, more often than not, they would say, oh yeah, sure, like we're looking to pay this. Or sometimes they would say, like, you know what, my client is kind of like, because see, you start a conversation. You're not you're not trying to solicit information. You're not playing games. You're just open to a conversation. And like, hey, I'm like, I just want to start a conversation. Are you even at the liberty to say that?
Right.
If not, let's regroup. So, and if they say no, I normally have three numbers in my hand. I have absolute bare minimum. I say like, well, I won't go below this.
Right.
Nobody knows that number but
exactly.
me. Nobody knows that number but me.
That's
I have my official minimum, and I have my top range that like is also reasonable. I won't say like, well, my range is between like 175 and 500K. Like,
so do you feel, because I tell people this, and because I've done this, when a recruiter calls and they say, I have a job, blah, 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 what are you making? I always say, well, what's your range?
Ooh, like,
because I'm not going to tell you what I'm making.
Yeah,
I want to know what your range is.
Yeah. I always redirect that conversation. But I normally, because if a recruiter is really adamant about asking my current compensation, then personally for me, it's not a good fit. Like, because I know we're not gonna get along. And in Washington, I live in Washington State. I said like, hey, just to be in full transparency, this question is illegal in the state of Washington.
I think it's illegal in every state. However, recruiters say it all the time. Well, what are you making? Well, no. What is it paying?
Because don't you think they feel like, because if you answer it, then there's nothing wrong with it in their mind. I'm not excusing it because I think it's BS, quite frankly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they will ask you questions.
And then you're set with that number.
Yeah, you're right. Now you put yourself in this box that you can't undo that now.
Yeah, and here's the thing, like, well, different employers act differently, but like your income is verifiable. They can verify your income in your background check if it is aligned with the company's policy. Some companies won't disclose it, and some companies won't.
I'm interrupting. I always have been told, unless you worked for the state or the government, a company, unless it's a private company, a corporate company, all they can say is the dates that you worked. They can't really say what you made because especially if you're in sales and everything, they can't really, do that. I have always, over the years, I've always known that, unless it's a state, and if it's a private company, family owned, ooh, forget about it.
Right.
they'll
They'll
just vomit everything about you.
Right.
Yes.
I think it depends on the company policy, and like I I had well, one of my mentees, he just had an interview, and he came back to me like, Eugene, how do they know my salary? Like, I don't know what they did. I don't know what, like, because like that was really shocking to me. I said like, hey, like you didn't sign up anything to run your background check, to like do all the research that they were doing on you, so you didn't give them permission. So if they already know about you more than you're comfortable with, like it's probably not the most comfortable work environment for you. So screw them. So
Yeah,
like yes,
they dug deep into somebody who used to work there. Because
yeah,
there's always going to be that person. Is that like a Karen and whatever you call her? That person's going to just like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and it's like, hey, like you just just keep moving forward, because
yeah,
like you like you didn't go to a former employee who was toxic and not necessarily the best employee, and you didn't bring their dirty laundry to the table when
right.
you were interviewing them. So because why would you do that? This is the information for you, for your personal knowledge and for your personal information to make a decision. So like, but if they say like, hey, we really kind of like dig deep into your business before you allowed us to do so, that's a red flag for me. But speaking of like to conversation, I would never disclose my like what I'm currently making. I
Yeah.
always like reconvene the conversation to the salary ranges, to my expected range, and also like it. I think it is okay to let a recruiter go if you just don't align, because it's not your job to be
Yes.
liked by a recruiter. If it's Listen, if it's not aligned, if it doesn't align, it doesn't align. So you like telling your salary or lying about your salary to get better salary, or just get a job, it won't do the trick,
Right.
because y'all just don't align, and it just will add extra aftertaste after that conversation. Like, why would go through that misery anyway?
So I've also seen over the years that there's, and unfortunately there's bad recruiters and there's good recruiters,
True story.
but they'll take your resume and then they'll add things to it.
Or
And
just
then
change
either
it.
they'll say, don't bring your resume. This is, old school where you go face to
Yes.
face. Or they would, give you your resume back and say, don't change it. And so now you're having an interview where it's sort of like, I didn't do this. I was like, how can I answer it?
Been
Why
there.
would, I mean, I understand why recruiters would do it, because they want to get the person through. They're either getting paid by people getting through, but why isn't a, how do I say it? It's not there's not a lot of honesty at times.
Not very ethical.
No, ethical, that's the word. And then also explain to me this whole conversation about bots. I
Mhm.
mean, I guess the moment I hear bots, I'm like, I don't even no, go, just let it go, because
The conspiracy.
I know that ATS is just a database. Some people don't even use it. We had Linda on 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But bots, where are people getting this mindset of bots?
I think it is important to keep in mind who is telling you that information. What
Uh,
are Follow the money. Follow the money. If it is like a career coach who says like, well, like your resume is being rated, like you have to do this and that, like they're bots, and like if you work with me, like you will get like ATS friendly services. I will teach you how to like dodge the bots, and you get in the system. Follow the money. So they want to get your money, and you like if you hear from multiple recruiters, that bots are not a thing. And like I said, like in my dirty little secret, in my little confessional, I train recruiter, I coach recruiters. I don't advertise it, like I don't run a boot camp for recruiters or anything like that. But like I work with the ATS. It is nothing but the
Database.
database, and
Right.
like it's a filter. It's
Right.
like at this point, this is your job to make yourself marketable.
Right.
There are no bots.
I
There are
heard
no
that
bots.
this morning and I went nuts. I'm like, where are you get? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. You're working for an unemployment agency that's telling you bots. It's like,
Mhm. Yeah,
it's the government. They're telling you, the
yeah,
truth. Oh, the government does tell you the truth. Oops, my bad.
Mm,
right, right. You know, like there are no bots. And even if there are like automated services, automated systems, right? Because AI is a big thing and AI will continue to evolve.
Mhm.
Again, AI is designed by humans. So you need to know what you provide, what your niche is. And if you have marketable skill in your niche that your niche wants, no bot is going to beat it. They see like,
yeah.
oh, like required skill, yes. So like whatever, like 55%, 65%, like human look at it, look at this resume. And people know that AI is not as smart as people or as the whole industry hypes it is. People
Exactly.
will look at it like, I'm like, okay, like so my automated system recommends me this resume, so let me look at it. And then like when there's slim pickings, they go through the rest of the resume. So like, okay, like obviously something wrong either with the applicants or with my system, so let me see, screen out applications. Maybe there is a wrong filter, maybe my boolean search, boolean string is not correct, so
Right.
let me see what I'm, because this is what I witnessed like with recruiters that I trade, because we had really close relationship and really good relationship with their employers. I was allowed on side, and they would let me pick behind the scenes, and of course with NDA and everything. But like that was day to day, and sometimes recruiters would complain like, I can handle our ATS because it is so wrong. I have to do everything manually.
But then it goes back to old school. And when we were old school, things actually worked. My other thing is, why are we seeing so many TAs out of work? I know the answer, but I want to hear it.
Oh,
There's
this
a
is
lot of TAs out of work. And then my question is, are they now, when they get a job, will they look at their job differently because of they're seeing what's happening?
it's such a it's such a good question. Well, I think the root cause and to answer to this question is back to 2020, and then the beginning of 2021 when the money was free and everybody was hiring like crazy. And when everybody was hiring like crazy, they overhired TA because they needed to hire people faster. They overhired engineers because they had the money. But when we had that economic shift, so now the hiring slow down. Now we don't need to hire a lot of people. So when the hiring is not happening, you're not doing your job. So TA is to go. And that's why we have so many TA, talent acquisition. If you're not familiar with the term, this is why we have so many talent acquisition people on the market. And back to your question, will they look at their job differently when they will re-engage with workforce? I think they will. I think when we come out on the other end of this whole economic cycle, we'll look at things differently. And we're already looking at things differently, because this is like that, like the worldwide pandemic, the economic crisis taught us that, hey, the gap in your resume is like, it's not a deal breaker. Hey, like just because you took off chart jobs, off chart projects that
Right.
don't align with your skill set doesn't mean that you don't know what you're doing. You have
That's
to.
right. Yeah.
You have
However, there
to.
are people out there that still are very biased. Oh, don't
Yes.
even get me started with ageism. But anyway, you're going to get where, well, why? why did you do this? Because I couldn't get a freaking job, so I had to go do something.
Exactly.
I mean, it's like some of these questions are so, there's no empathy. And it's like, look, you called me. I have experience. However, well, I don't know. We had a pandemic. I don't know. People aren't hiring. They're laying off. So instead of me sitting around, I went and, worked at Amazon for a while.
Yeah.
And it's, and that's humbling when people have to do that. So as somebody who would own a company, I would want somebody like that, that person would do whatever they had to do something.
Yeah. Agreed.
I don't know. We could go on this conversation. So in other words, in January, we're bringing you back on.
Yes, for sure.
Technical difficulty. And I think that we could go all over the place with this, Eugene.
Yeah,
yes, for sure.
And I think, as we wrap and we apologize, but thank you for rolling with the punches with us today, Eugene. Is to wrap, like, what can we do to help you, and then maybe just do a kind of final thought of who should be reaching out to you, like who's your ideal client? We would love to help with that.
Yeah, of course. So I work with two groups of people. I work with software engineers, like QA engineers, professionals in tech, mid to senior level, and I specialize helping them to find their profitable niche. So we talk about niching down like all episode long. I help them to find their niche and to claim authority in their niche through strategic networking, through content creation, through connecting with the right people. So that's one my group of people, and how they can reach out to me, send me a connection request. I'm running 30-minute mini coaching sessions right now. So like, if you want to see like if it is a right fit, if it's going to work for you or not, like let's have a conversation. Like, so let's have a conversation. The second group of people who I'm working with is service-based entrepreneurs. So if you are a freelancer, if you are a mentor or a coach, or you're thinking about leveraging your skill set and starting something on your own, like as we were talking about 1099, reach out to me, because like there's also coaching and education required, because you spend so much time to acquiring your craft and your skill set. But when people thinking about business, they think that they can do it on their own. But like, it's my experience, it's way far from the truth, because like I had 3 business coaches, and I had to go through 2 business coaches until I found the right fit. So it's a journey, and investing in yourself is important. The same process, connect with me, and like 30-minute coaching session is a perfect opportunity for you to make a decision. It doesn't mean that you have to sign up. It doesn't mean that we absolutely have to work together after that. No, it's for you to make a decision and help you to diagnose your situation.
I love it. Very cool. Excellent.
Final thoughts, Miss Howard, Mrs. Howard.
I love talking to recruiters, especially when they're really, really good, because I like digging into the brain. But I love Eugene's story. However, we will be bringing him back in January, just because, we're coming into the 4th quarter and things, we don't know where it's going to go. But I think it's still a conversation because of his recruiting background, but his psychology background, and then a coaching background. I mean, the coaching, what he does. I'm thinking about even doing the 30 day, because my business coach died last year. So, and I just have my husband and you, Kelly. But no, I mean, it's definitely reach out to him, but ring his bell. He puts out some great content. Content is, I always just tell people, if you see me, liking something or whatever, go find out who they are, because I'm just not following people. I'm following people that I'm learning from, and it doesn't matter how old they are, because I might be old, but I'm going to always still learn from somebody else. So that's all I got.
Love it. And Eugene, thank you again. And I agree. We definitely need to have you back for so many reasons, because this will be an ongoing conversation, regardless that we're in the 4th quarter of 2023, which is mind blowing to me. I can't believe it. But please do go to his profile, ring his bell, send a connection request, whatever. Do a free consultation, or the connect. You have nothing to lose and so much to gain. And I also put out, because Christy just made a great point, and I've had other people ask me this. Well, if you do career coaching, or you've done coaching, what do you need a coach for? Well, a coach needs a coach.
Absolutely.
Like you don't become great at weightlifting or in the gym or whatever it is unless you have someone guiding you in a right direction if you want to take it next level. And I think we always, need to know that, hey, you know what? I haven't been in a while and I'm feeling a little off. I need to have a little bit of a revisit. So I think it's something to always look into. There's such amazing value in putting value and investing in yourself. So I will end on that happy note. And please do, again, thank you for joining us. I apologize for the technical difficulties, not sure what the heck. And join us next Tuesday at 1:11 p.m. Eastern time, where our guest will be, should I say Christy?
Nah.
Okay. You just have to wait and see, because it's just, all I'm going to say, it's another badass woman that we're going to have with us, and we're pumped about it. So until then, everyone, we're all on this journey together, and together we do make it awesome.